Hey guys, it's Jedi Lex, and welcome to the 10th episode of Beyond Tatooine, where I bring on different Star Wars collectors to talk about how their love of Star Wars originated, as well as take a look at and chat about their collections. And on today's episode, I have Noah from the Rogue Nation channel. So, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic on this Sunday evening of recording. Came prepared, made sure I put gear on, acting Obi-Wan channel
Got my
hat, so I'm
Obi-Wan.
I'm good. I'm feeling good.
Nice. So, for people who may not be following you, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you focus on, and where people can find you?
Yes, so the channel is, as you can see up here, the Rogue Nation channel. I think that at on YouTube is at Rogue Nation 66, since there's ats on YouTube now. Easier to find, but it's basically just a Star Wars channel. I will admit, not as consistent as I'd like to be. However, Bad Batch is coming out in a few weeks. Got to do reactions for that, so those will be coming. And you can follow me across all social medias: Twitter or X, TikTok, Instagram at No Nation Vlogs.
Gotcha. And I will leave all your information down in the description so that people can find you much easier. But I
Yes,
know that you have multiple channels. So what is it like
yes.
kind of managing all these channels at once?
Well, I gotta be that's kind of like the reason that the Rogue Nation channel is so inconsistent, because as much as I love Star Wars, like as you know, Star Wars isn't all the time every week. Like sometimes there's just nothing to talk about. Whereas some people know, I'm a huge diehard wrestling fan. I liked wrestling before I liked Star Wars, and wrestling's on television multiple times a week, live 52 weeks a year. So there's always something to talk about. So between that and my gaming channel, they're kind of on a schedule.
Hmm.
So like sometimes unintentionally the Rogue Nation channel just, like, I don't want to say gets forgotten about, but even if there's something, like I put up a whiteboard like 2 months ago to try to stay organized. Even if there's something up here, I might not touch it for 2 weeks. So I'm just like, I just can't right now. Like, especially right now is like busiest time of year for wrestling stuff. So it's like I got to stay on top of it. But like I said, Bad Batch, there's some stuff coming out. It's going to be a good year for Star Wars. Hopefully, it looks like so. There's going to be content, but it does get busy sometimes. But I also just love doing it. It's not something that I obviously wouldn't have three channels if it felt like work. So
Yeah, absolutely. You got to do
yeah,
it because you love it. And when it starts feeling like a second job, that's when it kind of gets a little tough. So I try to
yeah,
keep it light. So I totally get it. And you are a natural with the wrestling stuff. I can totally tell why that's like your number
yeah.
one channel.
Thank you.
You're amazing at that. But so definitely check out his channel if you're into wrestling as well. He does it all. He is Noah Nation. So yeah, pretty much. We could jump into
Yes,
some Star Wars related questions, I
let's
guess.
do it.
So you said that you kind of were into wrestling first. So what brought you over to kind of liking Star Wars?
Well, it's kind of one of those things. Like I've gotten into this conversation before, where like it's always been in the house, and as
Mhm.
coincidentally, it is like I might not be a huge Disney sequel fan, but like those movies coming, or like I won't say come back to theaters, but like those movies coming out gave me a reason to go back and be like, man, I haven't watched these other ones in years. Let me do that. And now it's 2015, 2016, and I'm like, man, so what's going on with Rogue One at the end of the year? Let me start watching some like theory videos, and then like because new stuff was coming out, it gave me a reason to go back to, I don't, I forget when Clone Wars got pulled off the air, but like, and obviously Rebels was after that. But point is, like, it's been a while since there was something like new, because I didn't watch Rebels when it was coming out. I watched Clone Wars when it was coming out, so like I really wasn't paying attention for a while. Because I had that reason to go back, it was like, oh, now I'm like remembering why I loved the, prequels for the first time when I watched it, and the original same thing. And then even though, like I said, I might not have been a fan of this newer stuff, I was once again engulfed in Star Wars, really for the most first time I've ever been in my life. Like I was always a loose fan, it had always been in the house, but now I'm like, no, now I'm a Star Wars fan. Like between 2015 and 2016, I was just in.
Gotcha.
And then
Yeah.
it got real bad once I started collecting stuff, and then it was just a, downhill spiral from there.
When did you start getting into collecting?
Well, I mean, I'd probably say 2018, because I think like 2017 is when I started buying some pops for the first time, and then told myself the biggest lie in the world. I was like, I'm not going to buy Star Wars ones. There's way too many, to go back and try to get. And now, it's 2024 and there's a shelf full. And coincidentally enough, like this used to be way worse. Like I've got way better with my controlling of collecting. Like last week I bought, they're on that table back there, but I bought the Balin and Shin pops from the Ahsoka show. If this was 2018, 2019, I woght have bought every single pop for the Ahsoka show that came out. But like gotten better with controlling, but obviously that rule that I made for myself all those years ago did not last. And
Nope.
there's videos like they were on one of my other channels, and then when I reorganized everything, I re-uploaded them. There we go, to the Rogue Nation channel. So even though they're a little outdated for when I posted them, like there's videos from like 2020 showing my collection then, and it's like 5 rows deep, on these shelves, multiple, like it was a lot. Luckily, I've condensed, but collecting got out of control at one point.
I feel like that's how a lot of people kind of start. You go like super ham, you get a
Yeah,
few, and then you're like, oh my God, I got to get them all. And then I feel like as you kind of mature in the collecting aspect of it, you kind of start only getting the ones that you really want for your collection rather than
yeah.
just trying to be like a completionist. Because I know initially my buddies got into collecting like anime ones, and I was like, well, I'm not really big into
That's such a
anime, but
rabbit
like,
hole as well.
yeah, and I was like, but I want to like be cool and kind of like in the know. And I was like, wait, they have Star Wars ones. So I started getting
Yeah,
some Star Wars ones. And then I kind of like went through this hole and I was like, oh my God, they have prequel ones. They have this and this. And I was like, oh my God. So I just was going
yeah.
crazy. And lately I've been trying to like really kind of restrain myself and just collect the ones that I want to collect and even kind of just go through my collection and see which ones
Hmm.
I really don't need and to make room for others because they're coming out with a ton of pops. And hopefully with Bad Batch Season 3, we'll finally get some new pops.
Yeah. And like I think back to like 2018, 2019, I'm like some of the pops I was buying like in bulk at the time were like ones that I look at now and I'm like, this isn't even a good pop. Like
Yeah.
I bought like all the solo pops because that was brand new at the time, so they were everywhere. And I had like who needs two? No disrespect to the character, but like I really didn't need two Tobias Beckett's in my collection.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I have zero solo movie pops now. Not that I dislike the movie, but it's like I don't need these. And same thing, like you said, like try to go through here and there to be like, do I still need this stuff? Like the other day, I literally just put on Makari the two of the Jabba Skiff pops that I had because I was like, I'm not getting the rest of these. I'm just not doing it. I had Luke and Chewie. The rest of them, I was just like, forget this. I'm not getting this collection. But also at the same time, trying to look ahead of what's coming out. Bad Batch Season 3, Phantom Menace 25th anniversary. Maybe there'll be pops for that. So like I know there's going to be stuff on the horizon. So if I can clear some space now, win-win.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, I'm really hoping we're gonna finally get some Bad Batch pops because we didn't really get any since, we didn't get any for season 2. We got a couple for season 1, so I'm kind of like, I kind of got to clear out, and then hopefully maybe they'll do some like 25th anniversary pops for Phantom Menace. Possibly
Yeah,
Acolytes coming out, so who knows what
that
that's
too.
going to entail.
Hmm.
So definitely trying to restrain myself a little bit on going like as crazy as I used to and kind of going through my collection, but there's only so much that you could do at
Yeah,
once.
and on top of that, it's like there's so much Star Wars stuff. Like I started buying some TVC figures last year. I've just gotten into comics over the last like month, and I'm just sticking to new stuff. But like, so now there's other, money's going in other directions. It can't always just go to let me get every single Ahsoka pop that came out from this show. I got to space it out a little bit. So
Yeah, so you are getting into comics. I did see that you picked up
yes.
some. What kind of brought you over to the comic side?
Well, I was at New York Comic Con last year. I think it was when they started doing some announcements, and they announced the Thrawn series that just started, the Mace Windu series that just started last week, and I think the Jango Fett series that starts in I think next month or April. And I was like, oh, these are like one, they look awesome. Two, I saw Mace and Django, and I was like, oh, prequel stuff, cool, because that's just I'm just gravitated towards prequel and Clone Wars stuff before anything else. And then just the fact that they were a new series and like anything new, from what I understand and with my very loose knowledge of comics so far, a good place to jump in, And it was the same thing with like Marvel. Not that I paid too much attention to like Marvel and DC, but
Mhm.
like I was just hearing that there was like a couple new sets coming out, and people were really like huge on them. And some people literally said like, "Yo, if you've never been in the comics, this is a good place to start." So I was just like, "Screw it, I'm just gonna buy some of these." So then like I got the Thrawn one, then ended up ordering the Anakin and Thrawn cover online because I was like, "Well, I need this."
Mhm.
And that's going to be a rabbit hole in itself. These alternate covers because I just can't help myself. It's also an easy rabbit hole when they're right in front of you at the comic shop and it's like, hey, this is $5.99. Nah, screw it, why not? But yeah, I think it was. If there's new sets weren't coming out, I probably wouldn't have jumped in. But now I'm in, so like I got to keep getting them. I saw that they were doing, even though it's just the show adaptation into comics, the Ahsoka ones are coming out in like
Yep.
spring or summertime, and the covers for those look sick. And I'm like, this is such a rabbit hole, but I can't help it. Can't help it.
Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole a little bit ago, and I found it hard because a lot of the ones they're like the runs are so deep. So trying to like jump in at certain points, it is very
Yeah.
difficult. But with as you were saying, we are getting a lot of new comics, which is very exciting. I did just pick up the Thrawn one. I am looking for that Anakin cover because that one just
I had
looks
to
so
order it.
fire. Yeah.
Have to send you the link. I don't know if it's still up, but even if it's not that same, I think it's like Third Eye Comics or something.
Mhm.
I keep going on there. Like last week, there's like I think a Spider-Man comic that comes out like next month or in April, and I
Mhm.
really wanted this one cover from it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pre-order this now, so I
Yeah.
don't even gotta worry about it.
Yeah, I signed up for like a subscription thing with like my local comic shop because I guess you can like write down what you're interested in and they'll kind of like put them aside
Ah,
for you and then you can go pick it up out of your
yeah,
folder. And I was like, listen,
that's a
start
good idea.
hooking,
That's a
start
good idea.
hooking me up. But I like comics because I like to kind of read about the different stories and stuff, and the variant covers and the cover art that people do, I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really like the variant cover art most of the time.
Yeah, and like as new stuff comes out, like I know like unless it's on a character that I'm completely disinterested in, but like I knew I was going to the comic book shop last Wednesday because there was the Mace Windu
Mhm.
series was starting, and then there was like this Ultimate Black Panther series was starting, which they didn't even have that because I guess these Ultimate Marvel ones are like hot right now. I don't know, but the day before I'm looking online again, super new to comics, so I didn't know till like 3 weeks ago that every Wednesday is new comic book day, and that there's like a laundry list that comes out. So I'm looking and I'm like, is anything like new? Because like I'll jump into something if it's Marvel, DC, if it's new, and then there's like some Wolverine series that started like just last week, and then I went there, they had two of the covers. I was just like, screw it, we're gonna read these or the one. So I could see how anything is just such a rabbit hole to get down, but
Yeah, it
it's
definitely is.
fun.
But they're also kind of like cheaper, I guess. Like a lot of the new comics, like some of them are like 2.99, and
That's what
then
I'm
when you
saying.
start,
Like,
you know,
I only have to spend another $4, and I can get this another alternate cool cover. And then last week, I was like, I'm already here, so I bought the backings and the slips to put them in to
yep.
keep everything. Not, I'd get them, but then it's a little,
Now you're all
it's
good.
a whole thing. But then like to keep them nice, so I'm just like, so that was $20 or whatever. But I'm just like, I mean, it's $3 just to get just to get the other cool cover. I might as well, I'm already here. It's a bad mentality to keep, but it is
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
I'm in the same boat as you, but I definitely went and I like purchased the backings and like the little plastic like slips to
Yeah,
put them in because I want to keep them nice because I just feel like it's
yeah.
cooler that way and they'll look more pristine. And I even got like a little comic like a
Like a
case
little
or
bin or
yeah,
something.
like a bin to
Yeah, I
put
need
them
to get
in.
one of
So
those. I only have like I don't even think I have 10 yet, but like as I saw over like 2 weeks, the stack getting bigger, I was like, I need to protect these. Like
yep.
this is now a collection. It's not just one or two comics. Like now it's a collection. I need to keep them nice. So we'll get a few more. I'll get a little bin to keep them in because right now they're just like right up against the wall
Hanging.
back there. So like for now, that's fine. But we're gonna keep going down that rabbit hole. It's gonna get bad.
Yeah, my one bin is filling up. So I don't know.
And I'm like not to get into a whole like another thing, but like I'm going to Fan Expo in
Yeah.
Philly in May. So like I know I'm not gonna look for like probably any sets there or anything because I'm sure I'll have a little bit more knowledge by then. But I'm
Mhm.
still not trying to go back and retrace my steps with certain series. But like I'm definitely just gonna go there and look out for like cool covers of like some
Yeah.
of my favorite characters. So like that's like, gonna be like on top of like the whole cover discussion. Like that's just gonna be something I'm doing
Yeah.
at certain like shows and stuff. It's just like let me not come here looking for sets, but Clone Wars something. Yeah, sure. Let me get that and let me get this, and then that'll just be cool display pieces.
Yeah, they do make really cool display pieces, and I've thought about like kind of putting them up, like certain ones up in places. But
Yeah,
I do notice when I go to conventions, they have a lot of comic book vendors and stuff, and a lot of them do really good deals. I've been very fortunate in like picking out some really. I've pretty much picked up almost all of the canon series comics. There's like
yeah,
12 of them. I've been able to find a good portion of them there, and they'll even kind of like do bundles of certain ones and for like a cheaper price for like $10. And I'm like, okay, $10 for 5 comics. Hand
right.
it over.
It's probably not a bad idea to like for me to look back and like find a series that maybe I'd like to go back and pick up, but like purposely wait till I'm at a convention or something where I might find multiple at a
Mhm.
time because like I feel like trying to go back and get into something is a lot harder when you're picking up like one on eBay, one here, maybe trying to find one at a comic book shop. So like I'm gonna keep that in mind for when I'm at that convention in a few months. Like maybe I'll go back online, find a set. I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and then when you try to like purchase them at comic shops and stuff, especially the older issues, I've noticed the price is not the new comic price. You know, a
Yes,
lot of them get up there in price. I mean, I've seen certain comics that are like hundreds of dollars, and
I
I'm like,
literally just saw something last week that was a pre-order, but I guess it was a special cover or something. It was like 99.99, and I was like, that's not happening.
yeah, I'll take the 3.99 one and we'll call it a day.
I will call it a day, absolutely. Even though I did pre-order something because of the cover, but it was normal price. So
Yeah, you never know. So you did mention you're big into the prequels.
yes,
Is one of those three your favorite movie?
the one
Okay.
right back there on the wall. You know, I really do need all three prequel movie posters, but like, ain't nowhere to put them right now. So this one's gonna have to do. But oh yeah, absolutely. Like, Phantom Menace coming out back in theaters in a couple months is gonna be sick because like I was like not even a year old yet when that movie came out.
Yeah.
So both me and the Phantom Menace celebrating our 25th anniversaries this year. But like, so I never saw that in theaters. Attack of the Clones, I heard I was
Hmm.
in theaters, but like I don't remember it. That I specifically remember my view in the theater watching Revenge of the Sith. So like that's a core memory just for that movie alone. And then on top of the fact that it's just the conclusion to my favorite time period in Star Wars, and I just think it's a great movie. So Revenge of the Sith, like sometimes like ask me on different days, I might give you different answers with like what's number two, what's number three, and so on. But like number one does not change at all. It's that movie episode three right there.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I have my poster sitting like above my desk over here. Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith, my favorite movie. The other ones they kind of vary. You know, it depends on what I've watched recently, and I'm like, oh, well, I just watched Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi, and that was really good. But I am very excited that Phantom Menace is coming back into theaters May 3rd, I believe.
May
So
3rd, yes.
I'm
May the
definitely
4th
very
again.
excited.
It's gonna be sick. Like I said, I was too young to go see it in theaters. I mean, if I would be shocked to hear if I was, but like clearly I wouldn't remember that. But I love Phantom Menace. I know a lot of people, and granted, these were like back in the day, and it's been well documented. Like as these movies have gotten older, and the kids who grew up with them gotten older, like there's a new appreciation. Anakin and Obi-Wan have said it themselves. But like I love that movie. I love freaking Jar Jar Binks. I'm gonna purposely pull out my Jar Jar Binks shirt and wear it to the theaters when I go see that, just in support of the character. But I'm hyped. When that they teased that thing with Empire magazine the other day, and then it just ended
Mhm.
up being those two covers. I was like, man, that's it. Even though I am gonna go
Yeah.
find the two covers because they're awesome. And then the next day we got the Phantom Menace thing. I was like, all right, thank God. I just wanted the confirmation. But
Yeah, I was really kind of hoping that that was going to be like Kenobi series, like, you know, season 2 or
yeah,
something like that. But then when we were at MegaCon, he was kind of like begging us. He was like, please write to Disney. Like,
yeah.
please, please, please. Like,
Somebody, maybe it was
yeah,
you. Somebody posted that clip, and then I was thinking like the day Empire put out that tease, and I was like, he could have just been, lying
yeah.
to all of us. So like that doesn't take the possibility of Kenobi season two out of the question. But clearly he was not lying, and there's probably no plans for it. But
That's what
oh
I was
boy,
thinking. I was like, I don't, that doesn't really like track what he was saying. And then now they have this like days later. Like I was
yeah,
kind of confused, but I'm definitely very excited for Phantom Menace. And I'm glad that you also like Jar Jar because I love Jar Jar. And I know that a lot of people don't, and
yes.
I don't get it, but I love him.
Jar Jar, Dexter from the diner,
Yes.
Watto. Who else did I post on my Instagram yesterday? Oh, Clone 99.
Yep.
Had a great episode in the Clone Wars. I love these dysfunctional characters that just like when you think about it, pivotal in their role, but like only
Mhm.
there for like Jar Jar's really, even though he pops up elsewhere, is like it's Phantom Menace for him. Dex is in Attack the Clones.
Yep.
99 is in that one episode of the Clone Wars, and I love it. I love these dysfunctional characters. So I'm gonna that might be what I posted on Instagram the other day. For those who don't know, I posted a picture of those four characters I just mentioned and said greatest Star Wars characters for whatever reason. I might just put that on a shirt and then wear it to the con in a couple months and see how many people are just
Do
like,
it.
Really? And I'm just gonna run with it. I'm just be like, yep, these are my guys.
This is it. This is my gang,
Those
and I'm
are,
sticking to it.
yeah, like Anakin, couldn't be me.
Who needs him? Yeah,
Who needs him?
I do like the dysfunctional characters. All the ones that you posted, I was like, honestly, I really liked all those characters. And I know some people didn't really like them, and I never understood that, but I'm glad that we like kind of have that in common.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
seriously, Star Wars. For those who don't know him, posted or commented on the post and threw an R5 as well from
Oh
New
yeah,
Hope. You know, the one who just blows up in smoke. And I'm like, yeah, he fits the role. You know, he just
functional.
blow up and costed himself. You know, the journey throughout these movies. He fits the role.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess I know that you like the dysfunctional characters. What would you say your favorite character is, though?
Of the dysfunctional, or like actually my
Or
favorite
just like
character.
actual,
Actual
possible?
favorite character would be Anakin, absolutely.
Okay.
Because, like I've said, I feel like every time I'm talking about my love of Star Wars, just like, hey, let's talk about prequels of Clone Wars, and I'm like, I got to stop doing that. But he's the face of that era. Like, and obviously he could technically be the face of all of Star Wars, but he's just the face of that era. Like, again, like going back to the wrestling thing a little bit, like every era has like it's just face of the company. Anakin's like the face of those three movies and the Clone Wars, and so like growing up with that and then getting back into it years later, it's just like I freaking love this dude. And like
Yeah.
so many of our friends have gotten to meet him. Have you? Did you meet him?
I
Oh
did.
yeah,
I
you
did
did.
get to
You
do a
did meet
photo
him.
op.
I'm jealous. I'm praying he gets announced for Fan Expo. He was there last year. I didn't get to go. I'm hoping he gets announced again this year or goes back to MegaCon next year because I do plan on coming down. But like I got to meet this dude and just be like, I I love you. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like
Yeah,
how do you
he's
walk in, see Hayden himself, and go, uh, well, I'm supposed to talk right now? Like what do you want me to say?
literally, I was so speechless. It was crazy because he's my favorite character. I grew up with him. He was my favorite actor. Anakin's my favorite character. So getting to meet him, like, literally walked up as soon as I saw him, like, through the curtain. I started, like, tearing up and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And then he asked me how I was and shook my hand. And I literally, like, for a while, I couldn't even remember
Yeah.
if I
How do you
responded
think
to
I
him.
am right now?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm so good right now, like you don't even know." And then he like grabbed me, we smiled, and then that was it. He like waved bye to me, and
Yeah.
it was so
I've
emotional.
never heard a bad experience with this guy. Like everybody says they meet him is like, yeah, he's the nicest guy in the world, and I'm like, that's
Yeah,
sick because he at one point had all the reasons to not be the nicest guy in the world, but now
yeah,
he's come back once again doing Star Wars stuff. Definitely gonna do more of it. Obviously, Ahsoka season 2 alone, but like anything else, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. And like now he's just popping up at this convention, that convention, doing a couple talk shows here and there. Same thing with Obi-Wan, and I'm like, this is awesome. I love that they're getting all this love. And it was super cool. Like days after MegaCon, that Obi-Wan was on Jimmy Kimmel or Joe, one of those
yeah.
talk
One of the
shows,
talk
and was
shows.
literally like talking about the con that he was just at, where a bunch of you guys were, and literally just like praising how cool it is to meet all these fans that grew up with the prequels. I'm like, this is why we love these guys. They had
Yeah,
all the reason to not be good people, and they're just like, no, we love these people because they're giving us that love, and we're giving it right back.
100%. I think there's a huge appreciation, especially from our generation
Hmm.
specifically, that we've grown up with these guys, we've watched them. Now we're old enough to kind of pay to have these experiences, to meet them and sit at their panels and show them support. And I think they love it just as much as we love it.
Yeah,
So it's really cool. And like Ewan kind of even mentioned, he was like, yeah, I went to I think one of the celebrations, and he was like, it was my first convention ever, and I loved it, and that's
yeah.
why I do it now. Like that's why I go to all these cons. And I was like, oh, like I'm glad that we were able to show him like such a good positive experience that made him want to continue to do that.
Yeah,
So
I know. I know the original, the kid actor for Jake Lloyd, that kid
mhm.
for who played Anakin Phantom Menace. I know he like had some issues or whatever, like outside of just the fan stuff, like when he got into his teenage years, and I don't know, like everybody else, what he's up to now. But I would love for somebody to bring that dude to not maybe not a MegaCon or anything like that, but just come out on stage at a celebration. This year would have been perfect because of the Phantom
Yep.
Menace, but like just so he can see what these other guys got to see, and it's like, oh, it was just like the time of it all. But the same kids who were 9 years old with me back in the day, or kids my age who were even younger, are like, yo, we love your appearance. Like, we know you're only in Phantom Menace and like Jingle All the Way, and I don't even know what else he did as a kid, but like, just know, like, whoever was like bullying you for your appearance back in the day, half of them are probably dead anyway, and like, we love you. Like, he's got to come out to one of these things. I know he went through some like crazy stuff for a while. I don't know what he's doing nowadays. I think he's good. But again, like, just completely unknowing comment. But I would love for him to show up to a celebration or something. That would just, I know it's a little off topic, but just talking about like Hayden and Ewan and all these guys
Yeah.
who have come to these celebrations and been like, oh wow, we were actually Ahmed Best is his last name, the
Yeah.
guy who played Jar Jar. Got to see that appreciation last year, so it's like, hey, there's actually like a bunch of people that love us. Like, it'd be cool to like see these people again. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's cool too. Because even like Daniel Logan, who was Boba Fett
Yeah,
in Attack of the Clones, he was at MegaCon and he was like, I was what, like 13 at the time. I didn't know much, and there was so many people there that loved him, like that were there for him, and I was
yeah.
like, it'd be cool to like have the two of them, like the young actors who kind of evolved into someone else that was older, because then Tamora
Mhm.
Morrison took over that role, but it would be cool for them to like reprise their role, and I think young Anakin would get the same love that Daniel Logan
Oh
did.
yeah,
So I
absolutely.
mean, it would definitely be pretty cool.
I could only imagine the celebration panel where they bring
Yeah.
that kid out on. Obviously, he's not a kid anymore, but like they bring him out on stage in this environment for the first time in 20 something years, and the ovation would be insane. Like, and well deserved. Again, I don't know what he's doing. I hope he's doing well, but I would love to see Jake Lloyd in some kind of just Star Wars. I'm not saying, hey, come back and do this. Like, obviously I don't even know what he'd do anyway, but like, that would be great.
Yeah, I would love that. And I also feel like I might know the answer to this, but what is your favorite Star Wars show?
Well, it's definitely Andor. I'm kidding. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not a toxic thing. I just like making jokes. I'm a jokester. It's the Clone Wars, obviously. It just ties in with all the prequel stuff because it's more prequels. Honestly, it gives us 7 seasons of just phenomenal television. Ahsoka, Captain Rex, all the clones. You get all these new characters in there. You get to see more of Anakin and Obi-Wan, which I'm still itching for more of from before Attack of the Clones. But yeah, I'll Clone Wars is definitely number one. I'll rewatch that any day. I mean, I was about to say I just rewatched it, but I have been on a little bit of a Rebels kick, just because I haven't watched through Rebels as much over the years. I probably did like probably by now maybe 4 or 5 Rebels watch throughs because like I did one last year when Ahsoka was coming out. But so I've been a little bit of more of a Rebels kick recently, but like overall, like Clone Wars prequels, and honestly, you can even throw the originals. Like, I'll just put that stuff on in the background all the time. The Clone Wars, especially, I can't tell you how many times I have played through those 7 seasons. I just love it so much. The last season alone is like godlike. I don't even know how to
Yeah.
describe it.
Season 7 is like absolutely insane. I Season 7 is my favorite season overall. I think it's
Yes.
just it's you get to see what happens right before Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah.
and kind of all the things that have like led up to that in more in depth. And I think Matt Lantern and the guys that kind of voice those characters did a really good job kind of expanding upon the characters that we got in the movies. And it's been pretty cool to kind of see them bring those things to live action, like with
Yeah.
Ahsoka getting those Clone Wars flashbacks.
Oh my god,
So
dude.
amazing.
I wish I can go back and relive that for the first time again. Like, that's one of those things you hear people say that all the time, but like, and like awesome that I was recording the reaction that night because it was like I don't even know. I think the New Jersey like came out in me, and I was probably just dropping a lot of f bombs on accident, but like it was so cool, dude. And like another thing I love about the Clone Wars, and I purposely always bring this up because I like season 1 and 2 always get this hate for the Clone Wars, and like I get it. There's some boring parts, there's some filler episodes, but like I love it. I love some of the random episodes, like the Jar Jar dressing up as a senator or whatever he did episodes. Like, it's like so unneeded, but like that's like one of my favorite parts of like the animated shows and like the Clone Wars is just like the random missions. So like I love season 1 and 2 because they're filled with them, but I just love it overall, man. It's so good.
Do you have like a favorite arc within the Clone Wars? There's lots of them, so I know that's like a very loaded
I don't
question.
even know because like again, like season 7 alone is like godlike. So if we're just trying to take that out, obviously people have talked about a lot because it's been a hot topic over the last since Ahsoka came out. But obviously the Mortis arc is sick. Um, I don't, was it? It was a whole arc, I think, right? Obi-Wan in season 5 when he goes to save Satine, she dies, is crazy. Just the episode slash fight alone with Darth Maul and Savage versus Palpatine is another one that's just like crazy. And then coincidentally enough, like this, maybe it's just because it's hot on my mind right now, but like we just got that Captain Rex and Pon Krell 2-pack, so I went back and rewatched those like 2-3 episodes or whatever
Mhm.
that story is, and I'm like, oh, it's so good, man. Like I don't know if I have like a number one because and obviously like season 5 when Ahsoka leaves, like that's crazy. There's a couple episodes at the end, so like I don't know if I have a number one favorite arc. Definitely some favorite episodes and just moments. I know I said a lot of like key ones that are maybe obvious, but they're obvious for a reason because they're
Yeah.
just that good.
No, I totally agree with you. I love the Clone Wars. I like a lot of the arcs. I know the Mortis one's been talked about a lot lately just because of where we left off with
Yeah,
the season finale of Ahsoka. So I mean, but a lot of the ones that you mentioned are very good. So
yeah.
I'm definitely in the
Even
same
like
boat as
I think it's like season 1 or 2. And again, like on my mind because I brung it up in a video when Ahsoka was coming out. Uh, what the heck is the planet? I'm forgetting the planet. Like Mace Windu and the Lightning Squad of the clones like are going on a mission or something. It's like season 1. The planet's right on the tip of my tongue, but and it would probably explain a lot of what I'm trying to say. Point is, there's just a bunch of great stuff. Plus, I just love like random clone troopers. You know,
you.
Fives obviously his death is like super emotional couple of episodes, and he's just an awesome character. So like, I love that. Yeah, we can keep going, but like, you know.
I get you. No, it's all good. Yeah, valid points, good episodes, good arcs. The Clone Wars, I love it. I know a lot of people complain about animation and stuff and that there's too many filler episodes in it. And I just don't understand it because I feel like everything leads to something. Like
Yes.
one mission that you think is just a side mission or a filler episode will come back in a bigger way down the line or even maybe a few seasons later. So I am thoroughly a big fan of the
Yeah.
animation
I
aspect
never
of
got
it.
people like busted on the animation styles either, because
Yeah.
like obviously season 1 looks different than season 7, but I'm like, it also came out in 2008, guys. Like when it
Yeah.
started. Like, what do you, I don't want to know what you're expecting here. It's cut a little slack. I just rewatched a couple episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender because the live action one's coming out, and
Yep.
like, I remember it being better than it was. Maybe just because I was a kid, but I watched the first few episodes from like season 1, 2007, and I'm like, all right, animation's fine, but I can clearly see how we've come a long way overall
Yes.
since then. It's a different time, people, different time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they've kind of grew and, I feel like they've set a foundation, the Clone Wars, for animation overall. So, I mean, it's just a testament. If you watch season 1 and then you watch season 7, you can see how much they've grown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you got to cut them some slack. It's a time period. 2008 was new, but if it was made now, it's probably going to be much better.
Yeah, and I mean, look,
But
like the Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, like same style, look amazing. We've
yeah,
come a long way.
very long way. And then I guess speaking of some of those, Bad Batch, Tales 2, is there any show or, I guess, what am I trying to say? Is there any upcoming project that you're most excited for in 2024?
Well, I think so. What do we have confirmed for this year? Bad Batch, Acolyte. Everybody's saying's dropping this summer, but like, I feel like nothing's confirmed until Star Wars confirms
No.
it, and even that's like still a question mark.
Yeah.
But I mean, probably Bad Batch off the top of my head. Just because again like it's post Clone Wars, but it's still the same time period, and like we're gonna have Rex in there. I assume Cody's gonna pop back up, and just some of the potential of what we might see in that show, such as a Darth Vader, slinging fire with his lightsaber. Like it's gonna be sick. So like I'm pumped for the Bad Batch. I think it's gonna be possibly ending on a very Clone Wars like vibe, which is just like I I don't even know what I just watched. Like not a happy ending. Point is, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of looking forward to it because it's like gonna be sick. So probably Bad Batch would be the most anticipated thing. I mean, unless they like drop a bomb at the end of Bad Batch and they're like, hey, Tales of the Jedi this fall, then I'm gonna be like, let's go. That's top of the list. But for now, yeah, it's definitely Bad Batch.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think there's like Bad Batch, the final season. I think we're supposed to get Tales 2, Skeleton Crew,
Yeah,
the
if we
Acolyte.
get Tales too, then that probably jumps to the top because
Yeah.
like Tales is probably one of my favorite projects ever in Star Wars, and
Yeah.
we only had 6 episodes.
Yeah, I really like Tales, so I'd be interested to see what they're gonna do with season 2 and like what they could possibly like what stories we could get. Like I
Yeah,
would love to see some stuff about Balin and Shin, maybe some
yeah.
more about Ahsoka. Like I don't know. I feel like there's so much that they can do to even just limit it to
I,
6 episodes and how short they are.
I
What they
know.
were
It's
able
just
to
like
do is crazy.
there's so many characters who I want to see because like Tales is a great way to like give us random stories of like characters who never really got that much. Like maybe a Clone
Yeah.
Wars episode here and there, but like I just love Plo Koon and Kit Fisto because I just initially as a kid I just thought they looked super cool. Now
Yeah.
that I've gotten older, I just grown a love for them. But like those two guys, I would love to see little random missions of, or like you said, like I don't know how much Balin and Shin backstory we're gonna get in the future. Obviously, they'll like obviously I assume Balin's gonna get recasted. Unfortunately, Shin's obviously gonna be there, but like in Ahsoka season 2 and whatnot. But I don't know how much they're gonna go back. So like that's a great way to get them and give us some backstory of how like Balin escaped Order 66, which is something we were questioning during the time. But
Yep.
Tales of the Jedi, like definitely, we know we're getting more of that. But like, and I've said this a bunch. Give me Tales of the Sith, Bounty Hunter. Like we could really break this up into categories and give us at least one project a year, and maybe push it to 8 episodes if I can be spoiled. That would be sick. Cause like these like that when that came out, especially because I was feeling real sour about the Andor show at the time. So when that show came out, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I was riding such a high off those 6 episodes, and I watched them in an hour and 15 minutes because that's like all it takes.
Yeah. If you would just watch them all at the same time, it's very
Yeah,
short. But I'm very excited for Tales 2 because I really liked season 1 and I don't think it's gonna like season 2 is gonna bomb. I'm really hoping they're gonna do something cool. But I would love like a Tales of the Sith
yeah,
because there's so many characters that I feel like have not been expanded upon. Like we could get Plagueis, we could get Revan, we
yeah.
could get a whole bunch of stuff. So I feel like that would be cool to have a Tales of the Sith and then Tales of the Jedi.
And that's something I want to like. I really want to see too, because like, and I know I could like go read books, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm like shocked I'm doing the comics this year. So books is a whole nother thing. But like, I would love to see some of these characters who have only been really their stories have only really been told in books, whether they're old or new, legends or not, and whether they're recreating new stories, like whatever they want to do, like seeing a Revan or a Plagueis in animation form again. And like, I think the animation stuff's like kind of harmless too, especially when you're going back in time. Like, it's not like Bad Batch where we know, all right, like, are they like somebody's got to die here because it doesn't make sense. This like we like there's certain things need to happen, but like Tales of the Jedi was kind of harmless. Like they could kind of just have fun for those 6 episodes, especially because they were jumping around. So like
Mhm.
you could really have some fun with the animation. So I think if we're ever gonna get like, not saying we won't get stuff in live action, but if we're ever gonna get like a Revan or a Plagueis backstory in a show, Tales of the Jedi slash Sith, whatever it's going to be, would probably be the most perfect way to do it.
Yeah, totally. Fully agree. But that's why I really like reading the comics and why recently I've really kind of gotten into kind of trying to read the books is because you get to learn so much more about other characters that you really
Yeah,
don't get to see in the movies or the shows. So it's been really cool to kind of like read those in the comics. They're like kind of easy. There's a very minimal reading. You can look at the pictures
exactly.
and it's nice and easy. But the books, like I just started reading Dark Disciple with the Bad Batch anticipation. So I'm trying to like zoom
Yes.
through that, but it's taken some
Yeah,
time.
you got a good what, 10 days, 9 days,
Ye-
whenever it comes out. So you
Yeah,
got some time.
I'm on chapter 4, but it's been cool to like kind of hear more about like Quinlan.
Yeah,
So that's why I really enjoy the reading aspect of it, and that's why I kind of got into the comics because you get to learn much more about characters that you may have not if because they may not even do stuff with them. Like they may not make them into shows or movies, so it's cool to
hmm,
like at least be able to kind of see and visualize them to a certain aspect. So that's why I really
yeah.
like
I
them.
want people to lean on the animation stuff more for like I would love like there's 10 years between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So like I
Yes.
really don't see them doing a live action anything with Obi-Wan and Anakin during that time because like they're just not that they're old now, but like they're not.
Yeah,
They
the
don't look
CGI
like
would
how
be
they
good.
did in 2001 or 2000 when they were filming Attack of the Clones. So like to be able to go back in that time period and see what those characters were up to, animation's the way to go. And you could literally you could give me a whole show. And I again pushing it, but just fantasy thinking here. But like, I'm not saying 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, but like you can give me 2 seasons, 3 seasons like the Bad Batch of an Obi-Wan and Anakin adventures during the
Yeah.
Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and maybe they jump around a little bit, and it really shows like really post Phantom Menace, and then in the middle, and then right before Attack of the Clones. Like that would be sick.
I mean, it would be cool too because Phantom Menace, Anakin was young, like really
Mm-hmm.
young, and then you jump right to Attack of the Clones, and he's much older. So,
Yeah,
what kind of went on? I do agree with what you're saying. Like what kind of occurred between that time period? Like how did Anakin like train to be the Jedi that he is? What did
yeah,
Obi-Wan do as a master? Because you get to kind of see those things with certain people. Like with Tales, we got to see how Dooku kind of trained. Uh, what's his name? Oh my god, Qui-Gon. So it'd be cool to kind
yeah,
of see that with Obi-Wan and Anakin more than what we get in the movies. But I think animation is totally the way to go with that. CGI and,
absolutely.
facial tuning, there's only so much they can do, but you have the voice actors. You have James Arnold Taylor for Obi-Wan and you have Matt Lantern for Anakin already, so just do
Yeah,
it.
Darth Maul before Phantom Menace is another one that I think would be like you could super lead on in animation. Like that's what another thing about animation is just like the possibilities are endless. Like you don't got to worry about anybody getting old and hurry it up to record stuff. So like
Yep.
just
Eh?
lean on it more.
Yes, definitely. But you did also send me some pictures of your collection,
Yes,
so we can jump into looking at those. Oh.
yes.
So this is the first one that you sent me. Kind of what we see behind you a
Yeah, it's
little
kind of the
bit.
background for the most part.
So
Oh
break it,
yeah,
break it
I
down
completely
for me.
forgot. I was talking about the Revenge of the Sith poster. I completely forgot I got an Empire one over here too. Like completely
Empire.
ignored that. But yeah, that's back there as well.
It's a
But
good
yeah,
one.
that's kind of the setup back here.
Okay, so you got some Funko Pops. See some Black Series.
Yes. Couple
Okay.
Black Series, couple Legos on top, like just real miscellaneous stuff. I'm not really a Lego guy. Every time I try to get into it, I'm just like can't. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but so it never really sticks. But I just got a couple miscellaneous clone ones up there. There's a Return of the Jedi lunchbox from 2019, 2020. They put it like it was some random thing that was at Walmart. But a little miscellaneous for the background.
Yeah. I mean, I like how you have your pops displayed. I love the posters. The figures on the right, are those like Clone Wars figures?
They're not like super old ones. They're Black Series ones, but so like they're the 6-inch figures.
Okay.
But a couple years ago, like the Anakin that's up top that you see. So I'm like looking at my wall at the same time.
It's
Like
okay.
that is like we're like the same cards that they used back in the day for I think 3 3/4 figures. So they did a
Mhm.
line of 4 figures, even though I only have 3 of them. With those cards, which were sick, with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and 2 clones, all in their Clone Wars get-ups. So absolutely needed those, being the Clone Wars fan that I am. And then the ones underneath of it, you could see the ARC Trooper, were
Yep.
the what's his name, Tarkovsky, I think was the guy who did the '03 Clone Wars. I think.
I
Correct me
don't
if I'm
know.
wrong, but like it's based off that. I don't even think it's canon anymore because then they did the other Clone Wars, or maybe it is. But there's 3 figures based off that or that animation style, which is
Mhm.
like the first Clone Wars, which was like 2 seasons or something. And there's an ARC Trooper, a Mace, and a Grievous. So same thing. I remember having those 2 seasons on DVD as a kid. I think I might still somewhere. So like when those came out 2 years ago, I think must
Mhm.
gets absolutely.
Yeah, those are cool. I see those at cons and stuff, and I've been trying to. I'm into like a lot of things right now, so I feel like trying to get into like the figures and like
Yeah,
TVC and Black Series. I'm trying to like really avoid, but every time I see those, I think that they're so awesome. I'm so tempted to like get them because I love that time period. But I've done okay trying to,
yeah.
you
I
know,
try, like we said earlier, I try not to get too many figures, especially Black Series stuff. Like I'm more just sticking to the TVC, but it's hard. It's hard.
it's hard. There's so much Star Wars stuff out there, so it's tough. And then when you go to Ross and they're like $3.99, it's
I
like,
know.
I might as well,
Listen,
right?
guys, when you have friends like Star Wars Sith and they're sending you deals every other day, it's like, oh, well, yeah, if I saw that, I'd buy it too. Like, what do you
Yeah,
want me to say?
100%. Okay. And then this is like a little bit more of that
Yeah.
wall.
So there's the couple
So,
other figures from those Clone Wars sets. So I think the fourth figure in that top set is Hawk. Like it's like Clone
okay.
Pilot Hawk or whatever, but I never finished it. And then there's three on the bottom with the Grievous, Mace, and R-Trooper. Like that's the whole set. And it took me forever to find that R-Trooper. Like I had Mace and Grievous for months, and then the
Hmm.
R-Trooper finally showed up at Walmart. I was like, thank God. But yeah, I mean, like you could tell, like it's literally just Clone Wars and prequel stuff outside of the Rebels set that's down there. Uh, that's basically all I got. Like, is Clone Wars and Rebels stuff. I mean, there's like a Cal Kestis on top of the shelf back there, which you could see in the picture. I'm trying to think. And then there's a couple like Empire figures back there
Hmm.
up top on the wall. But like besides that, it's literally all Clone Wars and pre. That was like the one thing super strict with the Black Series figures. Like you're not going past that era because you can't.
That's it. That's where I
Yeah,
draw the line.
there's a
And there's a
line in
decent
the
amount
sand.
of them.
Yeah,
So,
and technically, like we got that Rebel set down there, which we'll get into. But like, I technically don't even need. I have two of those sets. One of them's in those purple boxes, and then even though they never made Zeb in this other one, but then there was the black and red boxes before that, and I got all the Rebels ones in there. But besides Zeb, because they never made them. But
yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely jealous of that, but we'll talk about that when we
we'll
get
talk. We'll talk.
closer. So then you got some of your TVC figures. Are
Yes.
those like a lot of Ross pickups, or those are like
Hon-
ones that you've
no, there's not one Ross pickup up here, which
really?
uh, there really should be. Honestly, like outside of the because like there's really not many on the wall here, right? I'm looking this
Hmm.
way because they're right behind my desk, and
Yeah.
there's that's the reason they're on this wall is because there's really not much besides this whiteboard, so like there's always room to add. But like I started buying these in like July, and I'm really not getting that many as you can see. Like I already had the Clone Wars Ahsoka for like years because I bought it in Disney like 3 years ago because I thought it was sick. But then besides that, like I picked up Rex and Fives, and then that was it for like a month, and then I got another one. I got another one. Like besides that, there's really nothing because again like I'm not trying to buy so much. So like I'm not doing any pre-orders, not going on the hunt. If I see something I like, I'm getting it. Like that's what happened with the Chopper and Pre-Vizsla. Like I was just like, yeah, these are sick, so I'm coming
Yeah.
home with these. But and then the other stuff in that picture, as you could see, you have the brand new Shin and Balin pops I was talking about earlier, and the Mace Windu with and all the other
Yeah.
comics are behind it. That's like where I'm throwing the new stuff right now because it's got no no other room for it
Yeah.
in my holocron from Disney.
That's the one that you just got that one, right?
Yes, I just
Weird.
bought it in Galaxy's Edge. I'm a little bit annoyed because I literally there when you're at Galaxy's Edge, there's 100 of them on the wall, and I
Hmm.
purposely was like looking at them because you know how some of the corners will get a little loose. So I found one that was nice and all the corners were tight, and then it must have just like moved around the slightest bit because I had it in my backpack, so like it was with me, and it must have moved around a slight bit. So like one of the corners is like a little lopsided now. I put it face down to the back so you can't really see it. But like next time I go, like I might just have to buy a new one because I was real strickler with that, and then somehow got messed up. But
Yeah, it happens with those things. Did they have this Sith holocron too?
they did. But I was also stunned. And granted, I was gonna buy them anyway. But I was like, man, these things are $50. Like it's a holocron.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just get the Jedi one. I'll get the Sith one next time. And then I wanted to get a crystal because you got to get a crystal. And then those things are $18. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they're really smacking you here at Doc Ondor's or whatever the store is
Hmm.
called. But then again, how do you not have a Jedi holocron? You know, I feel like your collection is complete when you have one.
Yeah, that's it. You're like set once you have one.
And really, once I get the Sith one, the collection's complete.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need. Just the two.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, I like the TVC figures. I only asked about Ross because the two Anakin ones I was actually able to find at Ross.
Oh, okay. So
So
technically, there is some Ross on the
so
wall,
I was
just
like, I don't know,
unintentionally.
maybe he
Yes, there
got
is.
those.
There is two figures from here that were wanted to give away by your host right there, which were perfect because as we talked about, Anakin's my favorite character. Now I have three different looks, technically four because I got the Darth Vader uh, without the helmet. Not that that was Hayden, but you get the point. So, the more Clone Wars that is on this wall, the better,
Yeah,
and slash
100%.
prequels.
Love it. Yeah. And then so you got send me some Funko Pops. Are
Yes.
these your faves?
Yeah, you said some of your favorite stuff, and I was like, all right, so what's some of my favorite stuff? And I looked at the pops, and I was like, all right, well, it was like a real. It was right after. It was really just a couple months after I got into buying pops. That those first 5 Clone Wars pops came out, and it was like a real like I'm hunting these down. I'm getting them because this was before I well, it was before season 7 came out, and I probably did a rewatch by then because or no, Disney Plus wasn't even out yet, so I didn't do a rewatch. I hadn't watched Clone Wars in years when these pops came out because it was before Disney Plus, and I only had like season 1 and 2 on
Yeah.
DVD. But I remember, and I was like, oh, yo, I gotta get these. These are like right in the nostalgia feel. So took me like all of the month of August 2018, but finally got them all after hunting them down. And I love those pops. And super grateful, Funko, if you're watching, which you're not, but like that you're making more Clone Wars pops recently. The 2 packs especially, cannot thank you enough. They've been great. So the more the merrier. But those 5, the 2 Ahsokas, one of them's Hot Topic exclusive, I think,
Mhm.
and then the Yoda, obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan, just the faces of my childhood and teenage years when I got back into Star Wars. But absolutely loved them, and then that's why I also pictured the Anakin and Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith because they represent my favorite movie. And I've said this before on record. I'll say it again. If I had to get rid of everything in here, collection-wise, I'm keeping that dark side Anakin because it's just so cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably like get rid of that one and rebuy it in like a nicer box. Not that the mine's beat up, but like I've opened it, so now it's like the thought is gone that it's perfect, if that makes sense. But like if I had to get rid of anything else or everything else, I'm keeping that one Anakin because I love it.
Yeah, I think that is probably hands down my favorite Funko Pop. So
Yeah,
some have come
it's so awesome.
close, the dual blade where he's got the 2 lightsabers from Attack of the Clones from that
Yes.
con a few, maybe like a year or so ago. I really like that one, but the Sith Eyes Anakin is by far my
Yeah,
favorite.
that's on that same shelf. It's right back there, I think. I think what is that? Last year or 2 years ago? I think it was 2022, but none of us were getting it till like 2023 because Amazon sucked so bad. So like I just ended up ordering mine on Macari, I think, because my pre-order just never shipped. But I do have that Attack of the Clones one as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I've got like I think I have almost all the Anakin Pops, so he's my favorite, so
Yes,
I feel obligated. But
absolutely.
yeah. I love those pops. The Clone Wars ones are really cool too. And I was gonna ask you, but you already brought it up. If you're a fan of the new Clone Wars 2 packs that
Oh my
GameStop's been
god.
doing, because I've been loving them.
The only one, oh, I mean, I don't even know if it's like dropped yet. That Jar Jar and Grievous one, which I know some people are like complaining about, but I was like, I don't care, I want it. But I love the 2 packs they're doing. Obviously, the first few ones like Ahsoka, Maul, we've gotten them before. Anakin and Dooku, we've gotten them before. Obviously, there's new poses and stuff, but like
Hmm.
probably my favorite one so far is that Captain Rex Pon Krell we just got
Yeah,
for 2 reasons. One, I was never gonna have those OG Captain Rex pops like before I was collecting heavy, too expensive, not gonna catch me dropping that much on the pop. I don't even know what they're going for now, but I know it's out of my ballpark. And then outside of being able to finally get a Captain Rex, it was like we would never get a Pon Krell single release. At least I don't think. I'd be thoroughly shocked. So to get a random, not I want to say a random character, but like some non-main character from the Clone Wars like that is sick, and it's an amazing pop. Like I don't know if you got it yet or not, but like so anybody out there, like highly recommend that Captain Rex Pon Krell 2 pack is sick, and I really want Funko to utilize those 2 packs and just keep them. Like I still want so many characters from the Clone Wars, fives, the Saj, the list goes Savage that's rhymed. The list goes on, but those 2 packs have been fantastic.
yeah. I'm really hoping that we'll get finally an Asajj with the season 3 of Bad Batch, but I'm not crossing my fingers or anything because I feel like we've had ample time to get one and we still haven't. But I
Yeah,
would love a fives. Fives would be phenomenal.
it would be
That
so,
would be cool.
so cool.
I would love more clones, but
Try
we're getting some.
oh well, and the pre Vizsla. I'm looking at my TVC figure. The pre Vizsla Darth Maul one that's up there. Like same thing. Like were we ever gonna get a pre Vizsla single release? Like I don't know. So like getting that in the 2 pack with Maul was sick.
Yeah, and I like that they go together. Like you can pose
Yeah,
them together, and I really like that because with the other ones, like the standalone, you can't really like pose them together. So I like that they're almost kind of like in action, fighting each other. I really like the
yeah.
2 packs a lot.
And you're already a little restricted with your displaying because every Star Wars pop is on a base. So like now that they go together, it makes it look a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So cool. And then the
Yes.
figures. I am so jealous of these because I've been looking at trying to get into these, but they've got a hefty price tag. I feel like trying to
Yeah, I
find.
have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh man, I so this was I think the first thing they released for the new boxes. They switched over from the red and black boxes to these, which obviously like every figure's got like their own color depending on like the show and stuff. But I think the first things that went up for pre-order with these style boxes in 2020 was the Rebel set. So pre-ordered the whole set. It was the first time you got Zeb. So I have this. I have all of the Ghost Crew in these purple boxes, if you will, and then I have everybody but Zeb, but I have Thrawn. Not that you could see. No, you could see a little bit right under my window, and just red and black in the red and
Oh,
black
gotcha.
boxes. I like the other boxes better, which is why they're in more of a prominent spot. But yeah, they're sick. Those are, I guess, technically the only non-Clone Wars stuff, um, Black Series wise, that's hanging up. But yeah, the figures are awesome. The boxes are tremendous, and they just pop too. Like maybe it's because of the boxes, and it's also Rebel, so everything's kind of super colorful. But it's an awesome set.
Yeah, they look really cool. I think I saw a Zeb at MegaCon, but he was like $45, and I was like, oh, oh,
Honestly, that might have been close to what he was originally. I mean, he's probably like maybe everything's gone up,
yeah.
obviously, but so he might have been like 30, 35 a couple years ago. But like, still, I hear you.
Yeah, I've been on like a very Rebels kick lately, so I would love. I don't really want to get into Black Series too much, but
Yeah.
I would love to have like the Rebels figures. So
That's also my substitute for knowing I'm not even gonna bother doing the Rebels Funko Pops
yeah,
because I know some of them are like ridiculous now. I'm
yeah,
not I'm not meeting anybody in the back of an alley like Pop the Bounty Hunter did, Pop the Bounty Collector did, whatever he did to get his Thrawn. Not doing it. I'm just gonna stick with these.
yeah. I mean, these ones, it's definitely a cheaper option, I think, than trying to get them because ever since the Ahsoka series came out, they've
Hmm.
shot through the roof. Luckily,
Yeah,
I was able to get some of them beforehand, but then as soon as Ahsoka went, it was game over. So
it's a shame too because I literally like, and I like I said earlier, like I didn't watch Rebels when it came out because I was just
mhm.
like, kind of out of the loop. But like I remember seeing some of those pops in stores. Like I vividly remember being like, oh, like whatever the character was, But I remember the Rebels boxes. I remember seeing them in Hot Topic, and wherever else, and it's just like if I only would have bought them back then.
Yeah, because I didn't end up like watching Rebels, same thing as you were kind of saying, until like after the fact. I was like, you know what? Let me see what I
Hmm.
haven't watched on Disney Plus, and there was Rebels, and I was like, oh, like what's this? So I put it on, instantly fell in love with it, and then I started kind of looking, and I was like, dang, like I wish I was into them initially, because then it would have been much cheaper to buy them
Yes.
retail price. $15 for each of them would have been crazy
Yeah.
considering that Thrawn and everybody, they're like hundreds now, so it's crazy.
Yeah, I guess the Ahsoka pops that have come out for some of these characters may be a good substitute, but like, still never the same.
No, well, even like we got the Target Thrawn, so that
Yeah,
was,
that was cool. I preferred that over the. I mean, but there's I guess they're technically still like the same pop because Thrawn doesn't have a lot of looks, but like they obviously put him out in the Ahsoka line. I saw him when I got the Balin and Shin the other day, but I was like, I'm just like we said at the top of this, I'm just sticking to certain characters, just trying to get specific stuff. Just got my Balin and Shin, but I was happy to get that Thrawn also in your giveaway, a month ago or
yes,
whatever it was. So it was a
absolutely.
win.
Yeah, it was a cool one. But yeah, those are all the pictures that I've got. I do have a few questions about your collection, I
Yes.
guess. So, how long have you been collecting?
Like overall or just Star Wars stuff?
Overall, I guess.
Because overall, like I was playing with action figure. Yeah, I ain't even afraid to say it. I was playing with action figures up until like my freshman year of high school. I didn't even care. You also make fun of me in the comments, but then after that, it bled into like still buying stuff, but now it's just for collecting purposes.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if I had to put a real stamp on collecting, I guess about 10 years. Even though a lot of stuff has come in and out,
Yeah.
but then again, I've just been getting stuff since I was a kid. But Star Wars stuff, like I said earlier, was like 2018, and then for at least the pops, and then just little stuff like Black Series and TVC just kind of made its way slowly in throughout the years. I was getting Hot Toys at one point, two different occasions, but I was just like, I can't keep up with this hobby.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'd rather just get 6 TVC figures or whatever than the one Hot Toy. Like, I don't know, quality, quantity, you could have the debate, but I was just like, I can't do these.
The Hot Toys, they're intense. So
Yeah, it's awesome, but like,
yeah,
big purchase.
big price tags on those. And then you definitely have like a variety of things in your collection. Do you have like a favorite piece? Well, I guess you already kind of said it was the Sith Eyes Anakin Funko.
That's definitely up there with like I said, like top thing, but like just some of my other like favorite stuff. Well, I mean, we do have the Black Series archives right up there on the wall, and the Anakin from Revenge of the Sith is right there, so that goes hand in hand. So unintentionally, that's in there as well. I don't know. See, and like we've also talked about, like I do kind of go through my collection, not like go through, but I will just look around this room sometimes, like every 4 or 5 months, and just be like, all right, what's really not doing it for me anymore, and then I'll cut it. Like I got a cardboard box of wrestling figures, loose ones that I haven't put on display in at least a year by this point. So I'm like, we could probably go through some of these and I can cut the slack. You know, there's 2 DTOFs filled with wrestling figures right here. If they ain't in those by now, do I really need them? Type thing. But like those 2 Anakin pieces up there. I'm trying to think. I mean, I hate sound like a broken record, but you know he's just my favorite character. So like those are just up there. The Captain Rex TVC is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. I also love the TVC figures because the artwork on the cards, like that has sold me on 1 or 2 of these figures. I just like the card artwork, like the Boba Fett. There's like a Boba Fett comic one up there. Like strictly bought that because the art was sick. But those are probably some of my favorite things.
Okay, cool. Well, those are all the questions that I had for you. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I mean, not off the top of my head, but this was a hell of a good discussion. Love talking some Star Wars, especially since, again, like we talked about earlier, like my Star Wars channel does get pushed to the side sometimes a little bit here and there, and even if there's conversations I want to have, I might end up not making the video because it's just like irrelevant news by that point,
Yeah.
by the time I get around. So anytime that I can jump on something like this or somebody's live stream, like I'm all about it any day because it gives me that excuse to talk Star Wars.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on with me. It was really fun. You're my 10th guest, so it's definitely a big
Yes.
deal. So, you know,
Number
number
10. Love
10.
to see it.
But could you let the people know one more time where they can find you if you have anything that's coming up soon? I know you
Yeah.
mentioned the fan expo.
Yeah, so YouTube wise, obviously I got the 3 channels, but the most important one is the Star Wars channel, which is Rogue Nation at Rogue Nation 66. You guys can find me over there. It's not till May, but I will be at Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. I don't know which one it's specifically called, but Pennsylvania Convention Center, I think, in Philly for Fan Expo, May the 4th weekend. And there's going to be a couple of Star Wars people there. I wrote it on my whiteboard here because I still have to buy the tickets and I don't want to forget. But Ashley Eckstein's going to be there. Never met her, so looking forward to that. D. Bradley Baker as well. The guy who plays Cal Kestis, forgetting his name. So I'm looking forward to meeting all those people. Hopefully, would love to meet somebody who might recognize me there, but I'm not banking on it. And then, yeah, you can go find me across all social medias at Noah Nation Vlogs. And there is a separate TikTok page as well that's just Rogue Nation. I forget that sometimes, but yeah, it's all there. It's all, you'll find me eventually.
Absolutely. Well, I'll make it easy for everyone. We'll put all your links to all your channels, you know, Instagram, YouTube down in the description. And again, I appreciate you coming on. But that's all I got. Yeah, number 10. So I will see you guys next Thursday.